Attention shoppers, clean up on aisle 14. Clean up on aisle 14. Someone dropped a jar of pickles. Pickles. Kosher pickles.
Beatboxing at a big box store. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
A red minivan has the lights on in the parking lot.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Geico.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz Podcast.
We bypassed something here in the last hour locally talking to Allison. She's headed to the Super Bowl. I hate the Super Bowl and Super Bowl week. I just despise it as a media spectacle. And we glossed over the fact that evidently Stephen A. Smith and Will Cain and everybody, they're all going to be broadcasting from a food court.
Yeah.
So I want to get to that in a second, that the media is descending on Minneapolis and Minneapolis is sending us over to a mall food court at the height of sports entertainment. It's something I want to address. But before we do that.
It is the Mall of America, though, Dan. I mean, it's a nice mall.
Okay, fine. But it's still America's most popular sport and a very large media business descending on Minneapolis. And in order to cover the Super Bowl, they're going to put us near the Annie's Pretzels.
Did you know that Mall of America has its own zip code?
What? It's the biggest. Is it still the biggest mall in America? Can you guys look this up? Because when it was built as the biggest mall in America.
It has an aquarium, a theme park, a movie theater,
is it
20,000 parking spaces.
Is it indeed Minneapolis's chief landmark? Is it the thing that you associated above all others with Minneapolis?
Well, the Bud Grant garage sale.
Yeah.
But before we get to making fun of the Super Bowl and this tension that we have every year where the rest of the show wants to do the Super Bowl and talk to Patrick Peterson, and I very reluctantly get dragged into this mess to just make fun of everything because it's a bunch of prediction radio for a week. Prediction television. Who do you think's going to win? Keys to the matchup.
In terms of square footage, King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania is the largest in America, followed by Aventura Mall.
Wow.
What?
Mike, can you get me the sound? This is why I hate Radio Row. Can you get me the sound of David Deal, the former Giants offensive lineman, who we asked him, and this was just very Radio Row. We asked him a question about something key to the game, and he just yammered for 2.5 minutes. And it's what Radio Row is this year from the Mall of the Americas. But before we get to that, I want to get to this story, Stugatz. Bob Costas is doing something fairly remarkable right now.
What is he doing?
Bob Costas, it would appear from what I'm reading, and I'm getting this news as we speak, it would appear, according to the Sports Business Daily, Street Smith Sports Business Daily, that Bob Costas is sitting out the Super Bowl because of moral objections to what it is that's happening in that sport with the brains. Let me get to it in a second here.
Wow.
Because this is a fairly significant stand that Bob Costas is taking against both football and his own network. And the headline is NBC's Bob Costas, decision to skip Super Bowl, mutually agreeable. But before we get to that, here's why I hate Sports Radio Row, because of David Deal's answer to whether or not, what were the keys to the Falcons beating the Patriots.
What's the single most important thing the Falcons have to do to beat the Patriots?
I think the biggest thing that they have to do to beat the Patriots is they need to play clean, mistake-free football. It takes a full 2 weeks of preparation to get ready for that game. Number one, you have to be prepared for the unexpected. You have to know the rules of the game. But the biggest thing for me looking at this game is it comes down to coaching. And I talk about halftime. Halftime usually come in, it's about 15 minutes during a regular season game or a playoff game. But the Super Bowl, it feels like you're in there for like an hour. I'll never forget in Super Bowl 42, I'm like, okay, we still have time. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll come back out. I'm sitting in the bathroom and I'm taking a pee and I'm start singing Free Fallin'. I'm like, wait a second. I could hear Tom Petty in the stadium while I was in the bathroom going, I'm like, okay, this is definitely the Super Bowl.
I mean, he nailed it, man. You think about that game, you really do. I mean, halftime, coaching, adjustments, and clearly the Patriots knew the rules.
No, when I think of that game, I think of David Deal on a toilet singing Free Falling by Tom Petty while peeing, taking a pee.
That was fun, though. You enjoyed that.
I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy that. It is the bane of my existence. It's what I hate about sports coverage. Everything that was in there. I asked him for one damn reason that the Falcons, the thing the Falcons had to do to beat the Patriots.
I also almost died while asking him that question. He blew right past that.
That's right. You were stumbling around, phlegm covered and gross. All right, let me read this story here. Bob Costa cited his own dampening enthusiasm for football as the main reason he will not be an on-air host for NBC's pregame show at next month's Super Bowl. Quote, the decision was mutually agreeable, and not only do I not have a problem with it, I'm actually happy about it, he told the Daily via email. I have long had ambivalent feelings about football, so at this point, it's better to leave the hosting to those who are more enthusiastic about it. News that Costas would not be in Minneapolis came as a surprise yesterday, especially since NBC last year specifically said that the veteran broadcaster would work the Super Bowl as part of a pared-down on-air schedule. But Costas dismissed the idea that his November comments at a University of Maryland seminar when he offered a bleak assessment of football's future served as a catalyst to keep him off the telecast. Quote, I've been making the same points for several years, often on NBC, in halftime commentaries, interviews with Roger Goodell and other prominent NFL figures, appearances on CNN and elsewhere. I have addressed the issue of football and its undeniable connection to brain trauma many times. Why? Because the evidence is overwhelming and the effects are often devastating. It's the elephant in the stadium at every game, whether others choose to acknowledge it or not, and it's not going away. So the idea that I am only now finding my voice on this, or that NBC was taken aback by what I said at Maryland, is just plain wrong. It's all simple and straightforward.
This is how you avoid the food court. He doesn't want to go to Minnesota. He doesn't want to go to the Mall of America.
This does seem a little bit like Spin Zone, though.
Yeah,
right?
It really does.
Mutually agreeable, because these rumors were out about, like, this statement comes on the heels of him being removed from this coverage. Now, there's a couple of factors, the Olympics being around the corner being one of them, but it seems as though while he's been making this point, and I know he's not just finding his voice, maybe the NFL's done with having that voice on its Super Bowl coverage.
Is he going to stop, well, that's a good point. Is he going to stop doing Sunday Night Football? Like, where is he?
I don't know. We will see.
How far is he willing to take it? I guess is what I'm saying.
Hold on a second. I'd like to talk some more about this, and we will in a second. But this is what I want to ask you. As Al Michaels gives up some games, as Vin Scully retires, as Bob Costas scales back, Bob Costas, the preeminent sports voice of our time, as he scales back, are we entering a time now in 2018, with the way that sports media is spread out, that kind of broadcaster is never going to exist again? Like, are we going to have anybody who becomes the voice of something?
A-Rod. He's the voice of everything.
He is. All right. I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it. Look, if A-Rod becomes president of the company, I'm good with it. If A-Rod just gets every job in sports media and every job, I'd like to remember for the rest of my life the way that we chased A-Rod out of a sport, calling him names, and then have him come back and reinvent himself as the single greatest media personality in the history of sports and entertainment.
Hi, this is Papi. Do you know that my TV show Highly Questionable is not only on ESPN2 every day at 4:30 Eastern, it is also available as a podcast. You can listen or subscribe to the Highly Questionable podcast on ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don Le Batard.
Stu Gatz, when we decided to move to South Florida, decided that he was going to move to Neptune.
Yeah.
He thought that would be a good commute. Keeps buying homes further and further north.
Stugats.
Last time I checked in with him, he was having a home built on stilts in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
The Cavs lost last night to a dude named Murray.
Yeah.
It was just a guy whose first name Murray. Beat him by 12 last night. The Cavs are in total free fall. I don't think we've ever seen what we know to be a championship caliber team look quite this bad.
No. They looked bad last year, but not like this.
No, they have been the worst team in the league all month. And they're just getting smoked. The Spurs didn't even play anybody last night. The Spurs just threw a lineup out there, and they're getting beaten by everybody. But before we get to the Cavs situation, Allison, I am told that the Mall of the Americas in Minneapolis, is it Mall of the Americas or is it Mall of America?
Mall of America, fine.
Okay. That was a question I asked you.
Well, you did say the Mall of Americas first, and then
it is the third largest mall in the United States, behind the one in Pennsylvania and in Aventura down here.
I know. I'm familiar with the one down here. I mean, that's where all my money is. I mean, Abby has spent days there. Literally. They have a hotel at the Aventura Mall because she has gone there and not come back for days. She has spent weekends there.
They must have a hotel there. My guess is the Mall of America has a hotel, does it not? It's got a wedding chapel.
It's got a JW Marriott.
It's Aventura Mall. Oh, major upset.
So, Allison, would you be willing to do a Zippy and the Juice hijinks where we go to the wedding chapel and have you marry maybe Patrick Peterson? Like radio hijinks.
Like actually get married to somebody?
Or
like
Terry
legally,
Bradshaw.
Like
yeah.
Yes.
Like go and have a ceremony and let us.
Will Kane.
Let us. Will Kane.
Yeah.
Will Kane's married. Yeah.
Stephen A.
Marry Stephen A.
Oh. Marry Stephen
Marry
Stephen A.
Stephen A.
Please.
Stephen A. Let him write the vows. Oh, we'd all go there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Are you going to be sitting at a table at the Mall of the Americas with Stephen A. Allison?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Yes, we're sharing a table.
You're sharing a table. How about sharing a forever?
Yes.
I mean, is this happening?
Yes.
I mean, what? No, I'm not willing. Yeah.
Okay. This
I mean,
feels
is this
like
about
sexual
Stephen A? No,
harassment.
this feels like weird. It's
That's true.
weird. It's
Okay.
weird. I don't want to get married, but if it's for the show and you guys need me to get married,
All right.
I guess I'll do it.
That's the spirit.
Yes. She said yes. She said yes. This is so beautiful. Mall of the Americas. It'll be so romantic. You'll smell like orange chicken.
I think the bourbon chicken is usually the featured sample on the toothpick.
Oh, yeah.
It's not orange chicken. It's not sesame
it's
chicken.
They hook you in with the bourbon.
Guillermo,
Yes.
put it on the poll, please, at Levitard Show. Is it always bourbon chicken on the sample at the mall that they lure you into their den of inequity with?
That might be a 90%er.
Is it always bourbon
It's
chicken?
always.
I feel like
it
it's
should
been
be
orange.
100%.
I feel like it's been orange chicken.
No.
In fact, even the Asian joints, they're selling bourbon chicken.
Wait a minute. Are you sure that it's not General Tao's chicken?
It's bourbon chicken.
Bourbon chicken, man.
Am I sure? I mean, I've eaten entire meals
Trust
just
me.
walking around the food court at a mall.
Whenever
It's bourbon chicken.
whenever you send me out to the mall to pick stuff up for you, I'm always eating the bourbon chicken.
Guillermo, put it on. Put that on the poll, and also please look up for me other things that we can find in this Mall of America that evidently this is actually what's happening in the sports media. We like to show you behind the curtain to show you that the emperor has no clothes. And the media is descending on a food court this week to cover the Super Bowl, America's most popular sport, multi-billion-dollar industry built upon the broken bodies of warrior men. The media is descending on a food court. Stephen A. Smith is going to be at the food court in Minneapolis as we go to cover America's most popular sport as football. This is what football does. I want you to imagine a bunch of animals being herded into a very the back of one of these horse trucks. Now I want you to imagine it's me and Windhorse and Stephen A. and Ryan Clark and Stu Gotts. And the set to PTI, and we're all being herded into this truck that's going to go to a Minneapolis food court, get emptied. We're all going to spill into near, the Chinese food and the Orange Julius.
A Sparrow.
Yeah, we're going to.
The Orange Julius is fantastic.
And that is where the sports media will dine. And we'll create content for you for a week from America's most popular sport. And Nasty Nestor is going to be there from Baltimore, and there are going to be a lot of people with plumber's butt wandering around the food court, because when you're at a food court, what do you want to see more than 300-pound plumber's butt?
Oh, the samples are going to last, 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Sarah Goose is going to be wandering through there because he's a prostitute this time of year. Like, he'll broadcast on behalf of breadcrumbs and adult diapers. He doesn't care. Anything. Saragusa is wandering to Minneapolis with his hand out right now.
He is the lock of all locks in terms of who will be there shilling product.
Yes, shilling stuff. Here's Wacky Fat Man, and he's been living off of this for 15 years, longer than Louis Anderson. Wacky Fat Man, Tony Saragusa, on behalf of adult diapers.
That was a real thing.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Should Saragusa's agent be ashamed of himself? Seriously.
Oh, he's doing what he's got to do.
Seriously. Honestly.
What?
No. Let's have this conversation for a second. The adult diapers company gets together and has a meeting. And they're like, who do we get? Who do we get? Let's go sports. Well, sports aren't really a place where you'd find adult, diapers, bigger, stronger, fitter, all that stuff.
Also, who's going to say yes to this? It's such a weird pitch.
Right. Why would anyone say yes to this? And then somebody says, you know what? I was watching 25th Hour last night. Ed Norton, Spike Lee, and the Russian mafioso, Tony Saragusa, seemed like somebody who might hawk adult diapers.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Okay, we got him. Get lockdown Saragusa.
I don't think that's a source of shame, though, for the agent, right? He should be, that's a heck of a sell, don't you think?
Well, let's see what the poll comes back. Should Tony Saragusa's agent be ashamed of himself for pairing his client with an adult diapers commercial?
It's a new I can sell Aisu and Eskimo. I can sell Depends with Tony Saragusa.
That's correct. That is good. It should be Aisu and Eskimo, sand at the beach, all that stuff. Yeah, sell sand at the beach. How does that work? How are those marketing people still employed? Are those people running industries now? We parlayed Tony Saragusa.
Oh, they had to have gotten promotions with that campaign. Easy.
I remember being at Super Bowl Radio Row. This is a true story. And Saragusa is, I don't even know how you would describe how he walks. It's waddling and epic. It's epic waddling, okay? Because he's 330 pounds or whatever he is.
He's Saragusa.
Yeah, he's Saragusa. He's the goose.
Right. Good job, Dan.
I beat you to it. That's fine. So
is it?
Yeah,
it should be.
It should be. If I beat you to the nickname,
really?
Yes, you know what? If that's right. If I beat you to the nickname, it's a fine. Yes, $1.
Let me see if I have some money on me.
This is going to be.
Yeah, I don't have any.
I just love the idea. Saragusa was walking through Radio Row, and you know those Cuban pastelitos? The Cuban pastelitos, they are flaky and they have
oh yeah.
Yeah, guava.
Oh yeah.
Guava, there's a meat one, there's cheese pastelitos.
Okay. But this is how the conversation went. So Saragusa's walking through and he's got all of those flakes and all of those crumbs on his moobs, like coating his moobs. And I just say to him, Tone, what you hawking? And crumbs fly out of his mouth as he says, flowers.
Here comes the money.
I'm like, what says flowers? What says flowers more than this guy with just crumbs all over the front of his shirt?
The goose.
Don Le Batard
is saving the best.
Yes, maybe no.
Stugats
is saving the best.
Yes, maybe no.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
If you are new to what we do around here, we largely hate these 2 weeks of sports coverage. I do. I should say I do. I shouldn't say we do. I hate these next 2 weeks of sports coverage because I don't like prediction radio, prediction television. Nobody knows what's going to happen. All of the analysis last year in the weeks leading up to that game, nobody had it being 28-3 Atlanta and then the Patriots making a dramatic comeback.
No, but I'm guessing a lot of people picked the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay, fine. And the correct prediction of things is not what I want to be doing as entertainment. But in 2 weeks, Mike Ryan, the shipping container, Stu Gatz, who is still at 44 years old, maximum sports dork.
Yep.
They want to talk to Patrick Peterson from Radio Row as the big radio show at Radio Row. The show we've always made fun of. We are now that show. And so Stugotz and I were talking during the break. What are some things that we can do to dress that up so that I don't get bored by what's happening next week?
I think the theme of the week is use the mall to our advantage. Okay, that should be the theme. So I love the idea. We're going to have Jerome Bettis on. If Bettis is just strolling around the food court taking samples, toothpicks with food.
Doing like a food critique?
Yes.
Like Jerome Bettis wanders the food court for samples? I like that idea.
Yes.
I've gone through the website and I came up with a whole list of things that can be done in this mall. Now, I was thinking differently. I wasn't thinking of guests. I was thinking of things that could be done that Allison would hate, which is everything at this mall. Like, she seems like the type of person that would hate going to malls. She hates crowded places. So I started going through all the things that can be done this week, and she could just report back on how much fun she had doing these things. Do you want to hear what some of these things are?
Okay, do you think these are better ideas than sending her there with a Patrick Peterson or a Von Miller? You think it's just sending Allison to do things that are uncomfortable at the mall is better than doing it with athletes?
No, I mean, if she can find someone to do them with her, that would be great. But if not, these are just things that can be done. There's an escape game. So it's like a series of escape rooms. So there's different themes. There's Mission Mars, there's Gold Rush, there's Prison Break, there's The Heist. Then there's this thing called Fly Over America.
Oh, boy.
Which is like a flight simulation thing that looks like, if you've been to Epcot Center, it looks like it's kind of like that ride where you're like parasailing.
Soaring.
No, but now we got, if we were to give Von Miller a telephone and say, go do the flight simulator thing, and we'll interview you while you're simulating flight.
That's what I'd like to do. Yes.
Can't we do stuff like that?
Yes. I think if you just put like iPhone headphones in his ear, maybe we could try it. I mean, I don't know. There's a roller coaster he could go on. You can swim with sharks there.
Hold on a second. Roller coaster, you can't have a phone on a roller coaster, can you? Maybe an earpiece?
No.
What if you put it in your pocket and you just have like the earpiece in, the buds?
We can probably skirt the rules. The biggest difficulty here would be because they have to go to, do a radio hit with Albuquerque in 10 minutes, and they're not on a flight simulator.
We should see who can get the most free samples from the food court in like a 5-minute period.
Oh, I love that.
Like have a race among the athletes to see who
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great
food
idea.
court.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like have a race between Von Miller and like it's
and Adam Schefter.
Like Battle of the Network Stars.
These are strange radio stunts though. Like I feel like you need to see them happen.
That's right.
Well, these are difficult, and also we're probably aiming high with the star power because these guys have lots of hits. So it's probably going to be more along the lines of Gil Brandt and Chris Sims.
Okay, that's fine. I'd totally be down for Gil Brandt and Chris Sims huffing and puffing on phones, trying to grab samples, doing play-by-play of whether they got bourbon chicken or orange chicken.
Next week's going to be great. You and Allison have the complete wrong attitudes about this. Like, it's going to be fun.
Okay, no, it can be fun if we do this with it. No, yes, it can be fun. I'm not disputing that it can be fun every year. It's some of our best work as a show. I'm just saying that specifically, I hate everything that sports media becomes over these next 2 weeks.
Imagine talking to Mark Malone while he's getting a massage.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. What are those chair massages?
I have spent so much time imagining that. I don't care who knows it. That mustache.
Oh.
Yeah.
Firm hands.
Oh, yeah.
Rubbing down those Malone glutes.
I've got him in that chamber that it's like a water pressure hose that's massaging you while you like enter this garbage bag that keeps you dry.
Can I ask you guys a question? Mark Malone always makes me think of Tom Selleck. And we've made fun of how musty this CBS network is. And I don't watch any network television. So I saw their parade of stars on CBS where they were just showing off during the football game. It was just one star after another. And they were all the stars from 40 years ago.
Yeah, Mark Harmon.
I know, but I'm like, Selleck. How is it still Tom Selleck?
Scott Bakula.
How is it still Tom Selleck on the television show?
What's the problem with Selleck and Harmon?
Magnum PI is 35 years ago. Are we not making any new television people at CBS?
Do you think they're still showing Magnum PI?
But okay. I see that Tom Selleck is still lurking around my network television.
There's zip lines here too. This place is great.
The place is absolutely amazing. It really
I want to go.
A zip line? All right, I want to talk to the bus on a zip line. All right, let's see if we can. This can be fun. Can you guys give me the list of? Yes, Mark Harmon made me laugh out loud because I'm like, am I watching television in the 90s?
CBS, they know their demo, and they have all these NCISs and CSIs, and they have a million spinoffs, and they're just getting, give me some variation of Mark Harmon. Scott Bakula available? Yeah, let's get him.
Yep.
Let's get him.
They do well,
Where's
though.
Ted Danson?
Right?
There is a Ted Danson CSI, isn't there? Is there CSI
No,
Ted Danson?
It's Ted Danson something else. CSI Danson.
CSI Sam from Cheers.
Hold on. I'm going to check out the Danson show because you're right. Is it The Good Place, Mike? I think it is The Good Place. That's the CBS.
No, he's on the NBC.
Who is handling CBS's programming? Like, who is it? Still Moonves? Is it someone from 50 years ago? And he's just saying, get me Selleck.
Oh, wow. Danson. CSI Cyber.
There's an actual CSI Ted Danson. I was making that as a joke.
No, there is. Multiple, actually.
No, there's not multiple.
He was in CSI New York.
Oh, my.
CSI Immortality.
All right.
CSI Crime Scene Investigation, the original. And then CSI Cyber. He's been in 4.
He was in the CSI Mark Helgenberger.
Here comes the money.
I mean, all the old guys must love CBS, right? Just that they're still around.
I mean, the old guys' agents. The agents, they just lap on the shores of CBS with their 80-year-old clients. Hey, you guys got a CSI laying around? Matlock wants one.
Someone see what Judd Hirsch is doing.
Seriously. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
He's actually in a CBS show.
Hey, can you guys get me that captain from the Love Boat? See if he wants to do a CSI.
Don Le Batard.
I hate that there are a bunch of people on Radio Row, all of them with plumbers' butt, sitting around elbowing each other, big dogs and little dogs and yapping dogs and rabid dogs, sitting there waiting for the shortstop for the Seattle Mariners to make his way through.
Stugats.
We have plumber's butt, but our butts are in Miami.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Joe Thomas seems like our kind of guy. We think we can have some fun with him. He's the exceptional left tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and he's been all over ESPN the last couple of days, and the graphics that accompany him are all insulting. It's just 1-31 in his last 32 games, has played with 20 Browns quarterbacks since arriving in Cleveland, and so I just want to talk to him about that and how terrible his hair is. Roy, what were you telling me about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens during the break?
All right, so far with half of the Hall of Fame ballots counted, both Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens have 65% of the vote.
Wow.
Okay, so this should be interesting. Well, Greg Cody of the Miami Herald, who is musty and mummified, he's got a Hall of Fame vote, and he has been anti-steroids, and yet he this year voted for both Bonds and Clemens.
I think both those guys last year were in the 50s, maybe low 50s, so that's a pretty big jump. They have 4 more years to get in after this year.
Well, now in retrospect, in history, there will be good 30 for 30s done on steroids.
No doubt.
But history will look back on steroids as the medicine that saved baseball, and while we clucked and clucked and clucked about how bad it was for everybody and what a moral decay it is for America, and we threw these guys in front of congressional hearings to answer questions, history will record that we were the laughingstock in judging it that way, because Bonds and Clemens are going to get all the rewards they deserve, and A-Rod is now running all of baseball. A-Rod has every broadcasting job in the media.
Yep.
And you chased him through the streets and banned him from the sport for a year. Like, the most overblown thing of my journalism lifetime is the reaction to steroids.
The media reaction, though, not the fans. I don't think the fans ever really cared.
No, it was the fans for a long time, and then the media got carried away with it, and we did it for years and years and years, and then people became numb to it the way they're numb to NCAA violations. But no, that was not a media creation. Media and fans did care for a long time about the integrity of games and cheating and steroids. But now look at what's happening. All these guys work in baseball. They're still making money off of baseball. It's one of the great scams of our lifetime. Steroids were great for baseball and everyone in baseball.
Yeah. Manny's sitting at 23%, though.
Manny's at 23%.
I mean, I'm not saying he's Bonds, but man, he's pretty close.
Mike, why are you laughing? Yeah, Manny's at 23%. Why? The whole thing's so stupid and random.
Yes.
Like, we threw Bagwell and Biggio in as if they weren't, like, eating pills in the batter's box. Like, tell me, wait a minute. Guillermo, put this on the poll. Mike, you're going to have to hit the reckless speculation sounder.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
You've seen in the movies the desperate guy who goes straight to the prescription bottle and just pours the pills into his face and starts crunching on whatever the
Yes.
maximum dosages are. Bagwell and Biggio spent a decade doing that in the batter's box. I'm not accusing them of opioid use. I'm just saying they weren't chewing gum. They were chewing pharmaceuticals. Needles. Those orange cases that all of the pills come in, there were shards of that in their gums.
They just stopped opening up the cases.
Seriously, though, in the history of the sport, is there anyone that you think is more likely to chew on pills in the batter's box than the middle of the lineup for that Astros team?
For me, it's just Bagwell.
Well, wait a minute. Wasn't Caminiti around there somewhere?
Oh, Caminiti, I forgot.
Caminiti.
Yes.
You know what? I have to amend what I previously said about steroids being good for baseball and everyone in baseball. Caminiti died. Although I think the drug of usage there probably wasn't steroids that killed him. I'm no corner. I'm not CSI Ted Danson.
A couple seconds ago, you asked me why I was laughing. You remember Tony Rizzo? This dude?
If you're one of the people out there that is planning a parade for 0-16, I will fight you. Come down and see me right now. I am at Buffalo Wild Wings.
That dude?
Yeah.
Well, he recently took... Yeah, he's back. He's back. He's back in a big way.
Oh, Rizzo's back?
He's back, and he's taking shots at our next guest. He is taking big-time
All right,
shots.
well, I'm going to... we can't wait to play this for Joe Thomas, menacing Joe Thomas in 10 minutes.
We will spring it on Joe.
All right, so I'm going to hear it the first time, too? All right. Well, that's an excellent radio tease, Mike. You are good.
Yes.
You're good.
Yes.
That's the radio business. We surprise the left tackle of the Cleveland Browns in 10 minutes by unleashing a radio gas bag on him and on his unsuspecting mullet haircut head.
You want a 1.5 second taste?
Please.
A little taste?
Yes. Just give us a taste. Just a nibble. Hold on. Everybody back off.
Of the food
hold
court,
on. Don't hog it. Nobody get greedy. Let's back off just a little bit to snort here. Just a little bit.
He's coming to my world, baby.
Oh, that's some good bourbon chicken.
Rizzo's coming after the left tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Give me a little snort. Give me another snort. Another bump of the Rizzo Pure.
He's coming to my world, baby.
Feud next.